I was standing at the front of the team briefing room when Sasha Hayes walked in like she owned the floor. Not just the floor, the whole damn company. Sasha, Vice President of Strategy, daughter of Frank Garrison, our CEO, and exactly 0% qualified to lead anything. She hadn't closed a deal since she got here 18 months ago, never ran a campaign, never stayed past 5. But she was elite at taking selfies during kickoff meetings she didn't even show up for. People clapped as I shook hands with my manager. I felt proud, not emotional, just solid, like, finally. 3 years of scrubbing disasters out of our supply chain, holding cross-continent calls at midnight, and babysitting partners who couldn't even spell compliance. And now, I was finally getting my title, Senior Manager of Strategy. Then Sasha clicked her heels across the tile and stepped right into the spotlight like she was the MC. "Excuse me, everyone," she said, loud and sharp, not even looking at the card in her hand. "There's been a slight change to today's announcement. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from." The room went still. Her voice had that fake sincere tone you hear right before someone tries to sell you a pyramid scheme. "After review," she continued, "we've decided the senior manager role in strategy will require a bit more tenure. Mason will now take on a coordinator-level support position instead." My ears started buzzing. I blinked like maybe I'd misheard her. I hadn't. She was smiling like she'd just handed out holiday bonuses, not yanked a promotion out from under someone mid-applause. "Don't worry, folks, the snacks are still in the lounge," she added. "I have a call with our European leads in 10. Her leads? The same ones I'd met twice on my own dime. I stood there frozen, certificate still in my hands, like some dumb intern at his first company potluck. The applause had stopped. The room cleared out like someone pulled a fire alarm. Alex, one of my teammates, reached out to touch my arm. I pulled away before she could say anything. I wasn't going to crack, not in front of them, especially not in front of Sasha. I walked out before the snacks were touched. That day was supposed to be the highlight of my career. Instead, it was the moment I realized the game was rigged. What Sasha didn't realize was this. She just lit a fire under the wrong damn man. I didn't even sit down. Just walked straight into HR and told the receptionist, "I need to speak to Marvin." Now? She gave me that tight smile like I'd interrupted her BuzzFeed quiz. "Do you have an appointment?" "I don't need one. I was just demoted in front of 50 people. I think that qualifies." A minute later, Marvin stepped out with that same expression HR people always wear. Part funeral director, part hostage. "Mason, come in." We sat across from each other in that fake warm little office with the framed poster about integrity and leadership peeling off the wall behind him. I didn't let him lead. "Why was I demoted?" I asked. He cleared his throat. "Leadership reevaluated your fit for the role. They've decided..." "No, Marvin. I'm asking you, why was I demoted?" He shifted, looked down at his notebook like it held a magic answer. Then he sighed. "Look, Mason, it's Sasha. She's the CEO's daughter. This is how it works." That was it. No cover story, no fake apology. Just the plain truth, dropped like a cinder block in my lap. I stood up. "Thanks for the honesty," I said. As I walked out, the weight of it finally hit. All the hours, all the late nights, the weekends, the flights I paid for myself, none of it mattered, because Sasha had a last name that came with a corner office. I took the elevator down in silence. My phone buzzed halfway between floors. "Alex, she just emailed. She's taking your Europe deck for tomorrow. Says she'll handle it personally." My fingers went cold. That deck had everything. My market analysis, my legislative loophole discovery, my strategy that could land us a 6-figure tax break if timed right. All of it was mine. And she was planning to present it like she cooked it up during her brunch mimosa. When I got back to my desk, I stopped dead. She was in my seat, not even pretending to be subtle about it, just straight up logged into my profile like she paid the rent. "I need your final deck," she said, not looking up. "It's all in the shared drive," I told her, knowing damn well the version in the drive was outdated. Missing the revised EU filing timeline and the new export loophole I'd uncovered 2 days ago. She stood up, smoothing her blazer like this was all routine. "Perfect. I'll take it from here. You can start setting up at your new desk. Coordinator corner, right?" I didn't say a word. just stared at her like she was some damn cartoon villain. She smiled and strutted off toward the glass conference room like she'd just scored a touchdown. My phone buzzed again. Veronica, European Trade Commission, votes happening next week, not next month. If your team wants the tax break, you have 9 days to file. 9 days. If that vote happened and we weren't prepared, the window would close and the company would lose millions. I looked through the glass wall and saw Sasha waving her hand like a beauty queen while walking someone through my slides. She was eating it up. Probably didn't understand half the content, but her posture said she thought she was the smartest person in the building. I could have gone to Garrison, could have called the board, could have outed her on the spot and made a scene right there in the bullpen. Instead, I leaned against the filing cabinet, locked eyes with her through the glass, and smiled. She smiled back, smug, relaxed, clueless. That's when I made the decision. I wasn't going to stop her, let her go up there. Let her walk into that boardroom full of international investors and legal advisors with a deck that was one major update behind. Let her take credit. Let her fly blind. Because the one thing Sasha never understood was that it's not about who talks the loudest. It's about who knows the ground they're standing on, and she was about to fall straight through it. I stayed late that night, not because I had to, because I wanted to watch it all happen. By 8, the floor was dead quiet. Just me and Sasha left. She was in the glass conference room, pacing like she was auditioning for Shark Tank, clicking through my slides and butchering my data points like she knew what any of it meant. She didn't, not even close. Every so often, she'd stop mid-sentence, adjust her blazer, and repeat a buzzword like it was some spell she learned on LinkedIn. Scalability, market liquidity, first mover advantage. She sounded like a kid trying to win the school spelling bee with words she couldn't define. I was leaning back at my desk, headphones in, pretending to work. Then my phone lit up. Unknown number, but I picked up. "Mason," said the voice. "Frank Garrison." My back straightened. "I just found out about the situation this morning," he said, like he wasn't the guy who signed off on every personnel decision in the company. "I want you to know this isn't a reflection on your work." I didn't say anything, just waited. "Sasha's got instincts," he continued, like it was a compliment. "She's ready for more responsibility. You'll still be a key player here, Petra." That's what he called her. Probably what he named her in his will. "You're a company guy, Mason," he said. "Thanks for being flexible." Then he hung up like that settled it. Not, "How are you holding up?" Not, "What's your side of this?" Just, "Thanks and goodbye." Less than 10 minutes later, Sasha walked out of the conference room and strolled over, high heels echoing off the tile like she was headed to a runway. "Hey," she said. "Quick question. Slide 22, that EU vote. Any updates?" I didn't blink. "Nope," I said. "Still a Q1 item. Yamal next quarter." "Perfect," she said, grinning like she just got the last piece of a puzzle. "Thanks, Mason. You've always been a great support." Then she spun on her heels and walked away, humming like her promotion was already framed. I stared after her, calm as still water. Because that lie I just told her, that was the one detail she needed, and didn't have. Slide 22 was the kill switch, the difference between a viable proposal and a total disaster. She didn't know the vote was next week. She didn't know she was walking into a room full of investors who already did. She thought she was bulletproof, untouchable. She thought I'd take the hit and keep my head down, just like always. She had no idea. I didn't call HR. I didn't warn the board. I didn't sneak into her files or change the deck. I didn't need to. All I did was let her go full speed ahead, thinking she'd won. By 9:30, she grabbed her bag and headed out. "Wish me luck," she said as she passed. I just gave her a thumbs up without looking up from my screen. After she left, I shut down my laptop and walked through the empty floor, past the glass room where she'd been rehearsing all night. My deck still glowed on the screen, slide 22, right in the center. I didn't smile, didn't celebrate. I just hit the lights and walked out. Tomorrow, she'd walk into that boardroom with her chin high, her script rehearsed, and her facts dead wrong. And I'd be right there in the back, watching it happen. The next morning, I took my seat in the back corner of the executive conference room. No nameplate, no laptop, just a black notebook and a pen I never uncapped. Henrik was already there, sipping coffee like it was just another Wednesday. His team sat beside him, sharp suits, quiet eyes, not one of them smiling. Across from them was the full investment board, minus Garrison, who'd probably decided to hide behind his calendar. Then, right on cue, 5 minutes late, Sasha clicked her way into the room, full power strut, high heels, lipstick on, like she was about to host a product launch instead of walk into a crossfire. "Thank you all for coming," she said, voice bright, eyes scanning for applause. "Let's dive right in." She flipped to the first slide, my title page, and started reading, word for word. Didn't even change the formatting, didn't adjust a single bullet point. I almost laughed. Henrik didn't flinch. He just listened. For the first 10 minutes, it went fine. She read through the market overview, grinned during the trend analysis, threw in a couple buzzwords when the board nodded. One guy asked about cross-border logistics. She deflected. Another asked about partner compliance. She dodged that too. But no one pressed. Then Henrik leaned forward, lacing his fingers together. "This vote you referenced," he said. "You're saying it happens next quarter?" Sasha blinked, caught off guard for the first time. "That's right," she said. "Q1 calendar, still a few months out." Henrik raised an eyebrow. "Interesting, because according to the commission, it's next week." Silence hit the room like a dropped brick. Sasha's smile twitched. "We have reliable intel indicating." Henrik cut her off. "We are the intel." The board shifted. Phones came out. Notebooks opened. One of Henrik's team members tapped a tablet and turned it toward the board. A screenshot of the official vote notice, dated and time-stamped. Sasha froze. She looked at her deck like the answer was going to pop up and save her. Nothing came. Someone coughed. Someone else whispered. Henrik leaned back in his chair, closed his notebook and said, "We'll be reevaluating." And just like that, it was over. The rest of the pitch unraveled like a cheap thread. She stumbled through timelines she didn't understand, skipped entire segments, fumbled a question about foreign subsidiary reporting that was literally spelled out in the notes. Her voice shook. That fake confidence melted off her face in layers. I didn't move, didn't smirk, didn't speak, just watched the same way you watch a slow car wreck. Not surprised, not sorry, just waiting for the noise to stop. By the time the room cleared out, the whispers had already started. Was that her research? Who prepped that deck? I thought Mason was leading this. Nobody asked me anything, not yet. But eyes lingered longer than usual. People connected dots. Alex walked by and passed me a folder. "In case anyone asks who actually did the work," she said under her breath. Inside was my original presentation, complete, updated, time-stamped, and bulletproof. I slipped it into my bag. By lunch, the rumors were everywhere. Henrik's team had gone radio silent. Reevaluating the partnership was the official line. The board was deeply concerned. No one could say exactly what had happened, but they all felt it. Something cracked. And the one person who had the missing piece, the actual data, the correct vote timeline, the strategic path forward, was sitting in the back of the room, completely ignored. But not for long. By 1:30, HR called me in. Marvin didn't say a word as he walked me to the same conference room Sasha had bombed in just hours earlier. But this time, the vibe was different, tense, calculated. Henrik was there with two of his advisors. The full board sat along one side of the table, and at the head, Avery, board chair, calm, focused, watching everything. Frank Garrison was sweating through his collar, literally. I could see the dark stains spreading under his tie. No Sasha. Henrik spoke first. "Mason, were you aware of the EU vote date?" "Yes," I said. He nodded once. "Why wasn't it addressed in the pitch?" "Because I was removed from the project before I could update the files." That line hit like a slap. Garrison looked down at the table. I reached into my bag and placed the folder in front of them. "This is the complete analysis. Original research, updated vote timeline, regulatory changes, and a streamlined workaround for early market entry." Avery gestured for me to continue. For the next 2 hours, I walked them through it. Everything Sasha didn't understand, everything she didn't bother to learn, the early filing process, the pending legislation, the tax break strategy. Henrik's people asked sharp questions, I answered every single one without missing a beat. Garrison stayed silent, jaw tight, eyes locked on nothing. Henrik flipped through the final few pages. "This would have saved your company 7 figures in just the first quarter," he said. "Yes," I told him, "and it still can." The room went quiet. Avery tapped her pen on the table. "Would you be willing to lead this yourself?" "Yes," I said. No hesitation. Garrison sat forward, suddenly finding his voice. "Sasha's already—" Avery didn't even look at him. "Mason is leading this now," she said, ice cold. "Effective immediately." Garrison sat back, jaw clenched, defeated. Someone opened the door. Sasha stepped in, finally, hair frazzled. Lip gloss gone, confidence nowhere in sight. Avery didn't flinch. "Sasha. You'll be transitioning to a new role," Sasha blinked. "What role?" "Facilities management," Avery said. "In Belgrade." Sasha laughed like it was a bad joke. "Isn't that janitorial?" "It's administrative," Avery said flatly. "There are forms to process, reports to file. You're shipping me to Serbia?" "It's still the company," Avery said. "Just not in strategy." Sasha turned to her father. "Dad?" Garrison didn't move. That silence, that was the sound of the empire crumbling, and the people who built it, finally looking around and realizing they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Henrik stood. "We'll re-engage the proposal under Mason's leadership," he said. "We appreciate the correction." Then he shook my hand, firm, direct, like a man who finally saw what was in front of him. By 5:30, I was back at my old desk. Same spot, same chair, same coffee mug. But this time, it wasn't just mine. It was the corner office now. And the nameplate outside didn't say coordinator anymore. It said Mason Reyes, Senior Strategy Manager. 2 years late, but I took it. Alex rolled her chair over with a grin and a fresh legal pad. "So, where do we start?" "Timeline," I said. "Entry, filings, execution. I want it built by tomorrow." She nodded. No questions. Just got to work. By noon the next day, we had it. A complete EU expansion roadmap, pre-vote, verified, lean, airtight. We handed it to the board, Henrik's team included, and by 3, Henrik called me directly. "You turned this ship around fast," he said. "It never should have been off course," I told him. He laughed, short and sharp. "You ever consider jumping sides? We may have a spot for you when this wraps." I didn't answer right away, just let the silence sit. Sasha was gone by Friday. They didn't throw her a party. No cake, no emails. Just a courier box on her desk and a one-way flight to Belgrade. By Monday, the only sign she'd ever been here was the bottle of fake champagne, still collecting dust in the break room fridge. As for Garrison, he stopped showing up altogether. Rumor was Avery and the board were quietly pushing him toward early retirement. Translation? You can leave with dignity or we'll escort you out with a headline. People kept texting me, old coworkers, directors, even Marvin from HR. "Sorry, man, didn't see it until now. Can we grab coffee?" I always knew you had it. I left most of them on red. I didn't need to explain myself. Didn't need to clap back. They were figuring it out on their own, one by one, some slower than others. By the following week, we were firing on all cylinders. Henrik's team gave us green lights across the board. Alex stepped into the lead on operations. I handled all partner comms and legal. Every meeting had my fingerprints on it. Every win had my name attached. And nobody was stealing credit anymore. A week later, Avery and Henrik called me into the executive suite. No invite link. No pop in when you're free. Just a closed-door meeting and 2 chairs already waiting. Avery didn't waste time. "We're promoting you." Effective immediately. International partnerships. Director Henrik nodded. Same job Sasha tried to take. Only now, with the authority she never earned and the backing she never had. I didn't ask for details. I already knew what that title meant. Budget control, final say on expansion, direct reporting line to the board. No middleman, no corporate babysitter, just me. I shook their hands firm and steady. "Don't let up," Avery said. "You did this the right way." "Appreciate that," I told her. A few hours later, Frank Garrison's farewell email hit every inbox. After years of dedicated service, I'm stepping away for a permanent sabbatical to focus on family and new personal ventures. Translation: the board gave him the door, and he took it before someone shoved him through. That night, I got a text from a Serbian number I didn't recognize at first. Then I saw the name Sasha. It's freezing. Congrats. I underestimated you. Won't happen again. I stared at the message for a second, then locked my phone and went back to my notes. Some lessons teach themselves. 6 months later, we crushed every projection on the books. Revenue doubled. Market share spiked. The EU team held a joint summit and flew in execs from 6 different countries just to shake hands with the people behind the launch. Henrik visited in person. I picked him up myself. As we walked through the office, he looked around. Clean desks, heads down, no chaos, no champagne popping. "You've changed," he said. I shook my head. "Not really. I just stopped being quiet." He smiled like he already knew. Because here's the truth. I never schemed. I never plotted. I didn't take Sasha down with some petty plan. I didn't have to. All I did was step aside and let her sink herself. Incompetence can only coast so far. Eventually it crashes. And when it does, the people who actually did the work, we're still standing. The title was nice. The office, the respect, the wins, sure, all good. But what mattered most? They couldn't ignore me anymore. One morning, I was standing by the window of my office on the 20th floor, coffee in hand, watching the street wake up below, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Avery. "Board wants your input on the South Korea launch. You free today?" I smiled. That used to be the kind of thing they'd only ask Sasha, back when her last name was more valuable than my work ethic. Not anymore. Downstairs, the same guys who used to pat me on the back and offer sad breakroom sympathy were now looping me in on calls about language barriers, vendor strategy, regional compliance. I didn't have to chase anyone. They came to me. Alex had stepped into her new role without missing a beat. She ran the ops side now, kept the pipeline clean, the meetings sharp, the deadlines tight. I didn't have to check behind her. I just let her lead. I heard Sasha was still in Belgrade, not running strategy, not pitching to boards, logging paper inventory and filing damage reports in a warehouse office with no windows. Word was she'd applied to 5 other jobs, got 0 offers. Reputation follows you. Meanwhile, I was fielding calls from Henrik's competitors, global firms, big players. "Would you ever consider jumping ship?" one exec asked. I wasn't in a hurry. I'd built something here. Not flashy, not loud, but real. And now it had weight. When I spoke, rooms listened. Not because I forced them to, but because they knew I'd already proven what I was worth. That was the part Sasha never understood. She thought power came from attention, from being seen, being loud, being praised, but it doesn't. Power comes from being the one who actually knows how things work, the one who can fix the mess after someone else breaks it. One thing I learned, when you let people steal your spotlight, they never think to look down. They don't realize the floor beneath them is cracked, and by the time they fall through it, it's too late. I never raised my voice. I never got petty. I didn't slam doors or throw a fit or beg for my spot back. I just waited. And when the curtain finally dropped, I was still standing, center stage.